Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm your host, T. Howard, the speaker, and today we're going to be talking about actually how God can actually change your situation. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the post notification, the bell over there, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Okay, let's dive in it. Today we're going to be talking about you keep asking God to actually change your situation, right? But what if I told you God is using your situation to actually change you? And I know we hear this all the time. And I know for a fact that's not always what we want to hear because I've been in that situation. I dealt with it before. Because when something actually hurts, or when the money actually gets funny, or when somebody actually, step away or walk away from you, when life doesn't look anything like what we prayed for, and our first prayer usually be, God, fix this. I get it. We all want guys to, fix that broken heart, fix my situation, fix my finances. And we tend to ask them for this a lot. Fix my relationship, fix what they did to me. You want, you're praying for your vindication. You're praying for God to mend your broken heart. Fix the door that closed on me. A lot of people have this problem, even me, dealing with acceptance. But I want to tell you this. We say to God this right here. Fix the thing that keeps me up at night. A lot of us can't sleep because we're dealing with all the stuff that happened in our life, and we replaying scenarios, certain situations that actually happened and that actually affected us. But we want to change, but God said you have to release these things. And there's nothing wrong with, asking God for help. That's not the problem. There's nothing with, nothing wrong with asking God for a change. But sometimes God starts his work somewhere we weren't or unaware or expecting him to actually work inside of us. So sometimes the situation doesn't move immediately because God is moving in something else first. See, he moving in you first. See, we want him to go tackle this situation or go deal with that person that hurt us, right? And sometimes that's not the case. And I need somebody to actually hear this today while it's on my mind. Not everything uncomfortable in your life means something has to go wrong or has gone wrong in your life. That's not what it actually means. So I want this to ball down. I want this to actually speak to your heart right now. Some things are revealing, to you. Some things are actually developing you. So it's revealing and it's just helping you to grow. It's building your character up. Some things are exposing what still has too much control over your life. Mm, that's a tough one. A lot of us deal with that, but it gets to a point where you're gonna get easier to say this. I trust God. Out of all things, that's actually gonna get so easier when you start really relying and trusting on Him. And when everything is working, it's working. See, it's easy to pray to Him when everything feel like it's going in the right direction. When the money is coming in, I'm talking about stacking up. It's easy to say God is good, God is faithful. It's easy to say all those things, but it gets hard when you don't know. That's why I say it's easy when the answer is yes, but it's hard when God is saying not yet. It's not a no, it's just a delay. But my question to you, how you respond when God is getting quiet or gets quiet? What happened when you pray and you wake up the next day, the next morning, and you still feel the same? You feel like nothing has changed. Nothing has happened. God didn't speak to you. He didn't answer your prayer. You just sitting there like, okay, God, where you at? Or what happens when what you did or what you thought was right still ended up, disappointed? Like it's a disappointment to you. This is the questions that we have to ask ourselves. And this is why I want to, strike your brain because when your faith actually get tested, you know how to handle, you know how to manage these situations, you know where to go. And as it says in James chapter 1 says, because you know that the testing of you or testing of your faith, it produces perseverance. So I want to say that again. James chapter 1, verse 3, it says, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And as I'm reading this on the Bible, notice how it says the test produces something. I want you to sit with that right quick. The test produces something. We spend so much time asking God to remove the test. Follow me now. That sometimes we overlook what the text, the test actually is producing inside of us, right? We'll sit there and contemplate. We're overthinking. We're trying to go before God because the uncertainty is hard to deal with. But maybe what you pray for is maybe you becoming more patient, right? Maybe you becoming or learning, this discernment, or maybe is you actually learning that everybody you love, right, doesn't belong in your forever. They don't belong at every season in your life. I know that's complicated, that's hard to deal with, it's hard to actually process, but sometimes it's true. Maybe learning how to actually say no, and that was a struggle for me. I would say yes to everything, even if my plate was full, because I was always ready to extend myself. And Jesus reminded me, you have to have a relationship with me first instead of trying to do my work. I never asked you to do my work. I also just told you to speak to these people. Or maybe it's you learning how to stop and abandon yourself just to keep somebody else comfortable. And I deal with that on multiple occasions. And maybe it's you learning how to sit with God without needing another human being to make you feel, complete, feel whole. And I struggle with that because I feel like I want companionship. But God say maybe this is a season for you to actually get right with yourself and build your relationship up with me because I have you on an assignment. Or maybe is you learning that your identity can't be attached to how much money you actually hold or what you made this month. See, we have to break away from these things. We want our own accolades to make us feel whole. Sometimes it might be how many views you got, or who you call, who you text, who you deal with on a daily basis, who stay, who leave. We have to stop this. We have to. We have to. This is why I'm speaking about it because it's from my personal experience. And I'm like, okay, God, place it on me to make a video about this. Because if those things determine who we are as people or individuals, they that can actually control how you feel about yourself. And I'm speaking from the heart right now. So I hope you really listening and I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down because maybe God is trying to teach you something in this season. Your mind before you're anything else. Because he's the one that actually created us. He created the heaven and the earth. So before the title of being this entrepreneur, this person of some type of status, sorts of status, before the actual relationship, before you get all these follows on these platforms, before you start stacking these dollars, the money, before anybody applaud you, you was God's child. God knew you. So always go back to that when you feel like you're not accomplishing anything or you feel like you're stuck in an environment. Sometimes you have to sit with yourself. God will place you in the corner and say, look, I'm going to deal with you. Not them, but I'm dealing with you first. And sometimes life get quiet enough for you to finally hit it. See, um, me, somebody was actually trying to save me, but that wasn't their job. I'm responsible for my own healing and what I was going through, the pressure. And for us as human, we love the part of the Bible where it say God's delivers people. But when you got to do that work, we don't talk about it enough about what happens before the deliverance. And I can relate to this. And the story comes from, about Joseph. Joseph had the dream, but then came the pit. Whew. Then slavery. Think about all that. Joseph had a dream, and then all of a sudden, boom, slavery, the prison. Imagine knowing that God showed you something. Is greater because everybody want to say it's greater in the end. but we miss the middle process, the middle part. But imagining God or knowing God showed you something greater while your current, circumstances look complete opposite. That'll mess with your head. It messed with my head. I couldn't think straight. I was, contemplating about, giving up on content. And you start second guessing. You start asking questions. Did I hear God right or did I hear him wrong? And God is never in the same place as confusion. But you have to learn how to navigate through that. Because sometimes we'll sit there and say, did I mess something up? Did you forget about me, God? Or all of this was actual waste? And sometimes we tend to have these theories. But Joseph in that story, and I'm going back to the story, but Joseph's circumstances weren't the conclusion. They were a part of the development. And a lot of us right now are developing. We don't see it because the outside appearance, but God usually worked from the inside to out. See, the man who eventually carried responsibilities had to become capable of carrying it. I'm going to say that again. The person who eventually carried the responsibilities had to become capable of carrying it. This is why I say God is going to extend, He's going to help your capacity. And that's something that we don't always talk about. Everybody wants the success, everybody wants the blessing, but they want the blessing without God's presence. But the blessing comes with, weight. It comes with, lessons, teaching, surrenderance. See, everybody also wants the influence. You want to have influence on somebody's life, but you don't want the experience until it requires you to be, disciplined. And I had to learn that. I had to become very disciplined. Everybody wants to, have more. We all want more. We want more success. We want more money. We want more stability. We want more motivation. We want more blessings until more money becomes and actually exposing habits. All those things is going to expose habits or something that you have a fetish about. Everybody wants a healthy relationship until the relationship requires you to actually be healthy, to communicate. I'm speaking to y'all. I'm talking to y'all right now to take accountability, to have patience. I was a person that shut down and to have emotional maturity. And as you do the work, you understand, but it's all in His timing. Everybody wants the next level, but sometimes God starts by strengthening the person first. So who's asking for it? I'm asking you right now. And as you stand on this video, who's asking for more strength? Because receiving something and being ready for it is something. It's something else. There's two totally different things. Because look, receiving something and being ready for something. Think about it. I can receive something and I'm not even ready for it. But receiving something I'm ready for, I know it was God intended. So you can pray for something that you're not prepared for to maintain. You can fumble the blessing. You can fumble the relationship because you haven't been doing the work. You haven't been doing your due diligence. So you can pray for something that you're actually not prepared for. And a lot of us do this. And sometimes God preparation feels like frustration. You know, we always say the isolation is preparation, but sometimes the frustration is actually, preparation because you can't see what I actually God is building in you. What He's actually building in you yet. Think about David. David was actually anointed and then went right back to the field. Think about that. That's wild. A lot of us have this anointing. Like for me, I can feel it on my life, but I'm going through the most, financial wise, getting overlooked wise, making music wise. But I had to learn. Imagine somebody telling you God chose you for something greater than tomorrow. Then you right back doing the same ordinary thing. That's just like a job. They're telling you you're so wonderful at what you do, but they'll promote somebody else. And you go right back to doing what you're doing. Think about that. No throne, no high position, no pay increase, nothing, no celebration, no recognition, nothing. Just no instant upgrade. You just struggling. And a lot of us been there before. Just another old day for you. And you start to question and say, God, I know you see me. I'm putting that work in. But the field wasn't a waste of time. It's not. Whatever you are at currently, it's not a waste of time. See, that's your training. The field was David's training. When nobody seen him, nobody was watching, he stayed and remained. You know, he was developing. David was actually developing, and a lot of y'all are still developing, but you overlooking that because you're worrying about somebody else's story. You have to figure it out. Figure it out right now. Don't worry about who's not clapping for you, because David wasn't worried about nobody clapping for him. He know he was developing. He know God had his assignment on him. He knew that he was anointed. But when the crowd wasn't paying him no attention, David still was developing. And that's for somebody right here, right there. Nobody's paying you attention, but you're still developing. Let your actions speak louder than your words. So stop thinking nothing is actually happening and everything is actually happening for you. Just because nobody can see it now. I had to realize this. I had to come to a realization. No matter who's not clapping or who's not liking or who's not on board, just keep doing you. Because some of God's deepest work happens privately. So character grows privately, spiritually grows privately, mentally grows privately, you know, discipline grows privately. So don't worry about what people can't see at the current time. At the due time, at the right time, it will happen. See, wisdom grows quietly. Not everybody can see your wisdom, but once you put it on display, it's like that person or that man or woman has so much wisdom. See, your prayer life grows quietly. So I hope this video really resonate with somebody today. And I hope that you have the ability to walk away from anything that's keep hurting you or keeping you away from God. That's my time. So if you're new to the channel, like I say, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the little post notification. And like I say, I'm glad to be back and I appreciate y'all for watching. So if y'all been watching this, send it to somebody that may needs to hear this and keep running it up right now. I greatly appreciate it. Blessings.